Hi there guys, it's me again, Ryan JSC, and today what I want to be talking about are 10 more signs of a Kundalini awakening, as if the last video wasn't enough, right? If you haven't seen the last video where I talk about the other 10 signs of a Kundalini awakening, then hop over to my YouTube channel. You can check it out whenever you like, or subscribe for the next installment of this video series, okay? Now real quick, what is a Kundalini awakening? Well, Kundalini awakening is when you get an expansion in your awareness. And basically, I like to look at it like water. If you have puddles of water and you run your finger through them, then the water joins up to the next globule of water, and then when water, everyone always takes a mick out of Londoners for saying water? Not important. One aspect of consciousness moves into the other aspect of consciousness, thereby by default increasing the amount of consciousness within any given point within the body. And it is because of this that you're able to have the aha moments, because the more awareness you have, the more diverse your thinking becomes. Therefore, you'll be able to see situations differently, which help you solve a common problem which most people have. And if you're solving the common problems, that means that you're not in those problems the same way that everyone else is. So you automatically separate yourself from the herd. Okay, this is why people say that spiritual people are often free, right? They're very free and they don't have to comply, or they don't have to be a part of the fold. They don't have to subject themselves to anyone else's rules. It's just like they see the world differently, their own heaven on earth, so to speak. And it's because they do, literally. So if you've already had these aha moments to the point where you're able to leave a potential problem aside, something that keeps coming up, to the point where now it no longer bothers you, it's because you've had a slight Kundalini awakening. Now obviously it rises up your body, that's why they call it Kundalini rising, and it will be depicted as two serpents going either side of each other up your chakra system. And then the serpents often stop right here, near your face, right? And then that's represented by the wings, so then a flower on your head, flower resembling the crown chakra, which is the flow of consciousness. Let's go into these 10 signs of a Kundalini awakening. That was a very long intro, but I needed to set you guys up. Just got it written here on a piece of paper. Let's get started. Okay, now this is one that a lot of people go through, okay? They'll find it wrong to eat an animal after seeing its corpse. Its entire body. Eyes, legs, scales, fins. Anything that resembled a being that once lived will put them off of buying it and eating it. The reason for this is quite simple. Even if that individual cannot fathom or comprehend how it is that they are connected to another separate species, they will still feel the need to walk away. Now the thing is that you, inside the body, not the you that most people think that they are, which is the shell, the body. When you look past the flesh, the you that thinks, when you close your eyes and you say something inside of your mind, or you use an image, those are the first senses that you have, because they are the first senses that come with your first body, your energy body. The thing is about the energy body is that every being on earth has the same kind of energy body. It's not separated by species. Therefore, when you're looking at another animal, it feels like you're looking at yourself, because your soul is literally pretty much the same as the souls that embody other flesh suits. No matter what species, no matter what race, you are all the same. Now, it's hard to believe when all you've got to go on is what you've seen with your eyes. And that is why I love doing things such as astral projection, because you get to see the world inside of this one, inside of the body. You get to see the energy behind matter. You get to see what reality actually is rather than this superficial reality that can be played with. It is a sign that you are becoming aware of the external part of you. Because once you reach that level of consciousness, once you give in to that level of consciousness, you'll not only feel like something's familiar here when I'm looking at you in the face, but you'll start to feel as if you are standing in two places at once. Once you give in to that feeling that maybe I shouldn't eat that because it feels like I'm eating another being that's alive, that feels eerily similar to me, once you give in to that, you'll then open up the doors to accessing the omnipresence feeling, where it feels like you are everyone, everything, at every present point of time, within the past or within the future. That may have gone over quite a few people's heads, but once you accept whatever's coming up, it may not be exactly what I just said just then, but if it's any part of what I just said, deal with that, allow that, accept that, and see what you discover. I promise you won't be disappointed. Number 2, you'll dress how you want to dress. And the reason why you'll do this is because you'll stop caring about what other people think of you. Okay? This is because you'll become more aware, again dealing with that awareness spark, that really, when it comes to your own happiness, no one outside of you is going to facilitate in making you truly happy. The only one that can do that is you. And for a very large period of my life when I was a kid, I grew up dressing a certain way because I believed that the public wanted to see me dressed in this certain way. And that made me happy because it made me feel comfortable. Well, at least that's the feeling that I was trying to go for when it came to me embodying comfortability around my town and within my schools. I tried to dress the part. That way, I couldn't feel anxious about not fitting in. But the thing is I was never happy doing that, period, because I didn't feel like myself. So what happens is when you become more aware of what you're doing, these little sacrifices, these little, they're sacrificing. You're sacrificing a part of yourself to conform to an external ideal. Once you realize what you're doing, you'll decide not to do it anymore because it's no longer productive of a happy state of being. Matter of fact, it never contributed to the happiness that I wanted to feel by doing that. Only by me realizing what I was doing and then thinking, do you know what, I've always wanted to wear high heels. But a lot of people, they would judge me otherwise. Who gives a crap? They got unisex high heels. You can rock those things, right? And if you wear ones that do fit females or made for females, I can guarantee you, if you're a guy wearing them, no one's going to question anything because no one's actually paying enough attention to what you're wearing. They're more concerned about what they're wearing, okay? Once you realize that, you really let loose and dress however, which way you want, you know, and then you'll be more happy. So really, when it comes to a Kundalini awakening and awareness awakening, you tend to align with the actions that make you more happy. That's why spiritual people are happy all of the time. It's because they're always creating an outer reflection that closely resembles how they feel on the inside. Number 3, you'll fall out of relationships that no longer serve your best interests. Now, this isn't just relationships with your boyfriends or girlfriends. It's also family relationships and friendships. You'll know when they're not serving you, okay? Classic example with friends. If you're hanging around a group of friends and they're always talking about things, vulgarities, words, throwing around cuss words about other people, you know, it doesn't feel good, right? That's a sign you should move. You don't have to go like drastic and just leave your house, but walk away from them. Because if it doesn't feel right, then it's because you're not supposed to be around those types of people anymore. Once upon a time, it was okay, it was acceptable for you to gain a certain amount of experience, but you'll tend to outgrow a lot of people. Now, you don't want to say that to their face because it will come across as condescending. And they'll only think that because they're trying to compare themselves to you. And it's through that process of trying to compare themselves to you that they'll feel put down because they'll put themselves down. The more they'll start to see how you're shining, the more they'll start to realize how they're not shining so bright, you know? They'll start to realize that, you know, maybe they're not so good at art or singing or other things, whatever it is. And they'll judge themselves, putting down their value and putting you up on this pedestal. They'll then start to feel bad, and they'll project that out onto you by saying that you're the cause for them feeling bad when really they chose to think that way. So you gotta watch out when it comes to you expressing how cool you are, because a lot of people aren't quite ready for that information. They can't quite process what it is that they're seeing or hearing when you're speaking your truth. Not only that, but a lot of people tend to test you also. They'll probably throw it back at you and say, well, you're not really that good. It's called being passive aggressive, and they'll do that and they'll watch for you to give in to what they just said. And then your perception of your own value will drop, and you'll think that you're worse off than you actually are. The cool thing about the psychology of man is whatever you believe, you'll experience. So if you believe you're a crap singer, you'll have all these doubts inside of your head that will cause your throat to lock up. Okay, and it goes into any kind of performance, anxiety. That's what it is. So you can't listen to other people who try to knock back your awesomeness right at you to try and test you. And you can't tell them how cool you are because they'll think that you're just being condescending, again, due to their own processing of the situation, how they judge themselves and how they always tend to compare themselves to others. Indirectly show them. That way, if they click on your video and see you rocking a guitar, it was their choice. Okay? Number 4, you'll begin to activate your inner voice, that part of you that never quite spoke your truth. Every time someone belittled you or said that you were something that you were not, and you just looked away from the camera. Probably wiped your lap a little bit. You know, did some of this twitching. And then you just felt everyone else staring at you because they're waiting for you to speak up, but you never did. Well, when you start to move into what feels natural, what feels good, that's you releasing that constraint. And that constraint is the belief system that suggests that if you speak up, you won't be heard. What happens is when you start to take chances, when you start to take risks, when you start to speak your truth and not give a damn what other people say back to you because you know that whatever they're going to say is just BS, you'll start to open up your throat chakra, that part of your psyche that really wants to get out the truth because, well, everyone wants to feel comfortable and no one feels good around people that lie, cheat, and or put others down. You will not stand for that, period. So, you'll find yourself becoming a bit blunt with your truth, okay? And at first, you may be a bit too blunt, and you may make mistakes in your truth. It sounds strange, right? How can you make mistakes with your truth? It's true. Well, there are certain ways to say your truth, and there are certain ways to not say your truth. Okay, certain times are good. Certain times are good. And that goes into my next point. Sign number 6. You'll realize when it's appropriate to speak your truth, okay? Some people may project things your way, but it's because of their own internal conflict, their relationship with what you're saying or what you're doing. If you're swearing, I need to do a video on this because swear words are great, okay? But if you're swearing and their relationship with the F word is bad because every time they've heard that F word, the F-bomb, it's been directed towards them, which make them feel bad. So now anyone around them who says the F word will cause them to emotionally remember that feeling that they felt within the past, and that then makes them feel bad. They then think that it's because of you. So they're going to be like, stop swearing, it's bad, you're a bad person. When really it's just old energy coming up within them and they're not able to differentiate what's going on. Where it's coming from. Is it new or is it something old? And it's pretty easy actually. You just feel it, and if it feels familiar, it's because it's happened within the past. And if it's happened within the past, it happened because of someone else not this other person. If you were to use a completely new swear word, something in another language, and then someone you've never met before uses that swear word, not towards you, but to express an emotion, you'll most likely end up adopting that swear word as well. And you'll start using it because it makes you feel good, it makes you remember that person, and it also allows you to express who you are. That's the thing about swear words. The subconscious mind uses words within its external environment to better express an emotion. That's what we are. We're expressions of information. So when you're around people, they call it influence. When you're around people who swear, really what's going on first is you're feeling their energy. Empathically. You're feeling them and you're also seeing them within a certain circumstance. Maybe they stubbed their toe, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, subconsciously, this is what's going on. He stubbed his toe. I remember doing that. Next time I do it, I'm gonna swear because I just saw him swear and I just felt tension release from his body emotionally. Even physically, I can see it. His shoulders just dropped. He just, Jesus, dang it. You know? There's three things right there. All three cuss words, apparently. So the subconscious mind doesn't judge cuss words. It just takes any information it can to better express itself within the future. That's what we are. We adapt. And that's why I don't mind cuss words at all, or swearing. I would cuss in some of my videos sometimes. I don't mind. Because a real spiritual person who's self-aware of how the consciousness works, okay, understands what it's trying to do, and allows that further deeper region of its own mind, because you are your subconscious mind, you allow the entirety of yourself to move into the flow of giving out information, projecting information, the flow of consciousness within your experience. You allow yourself to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But getting back to when you should speak your truth and when you shouldn't speak your truth, okay? Again, they're going to project to you something that they're uncomfortable with. In realizing that you could potentially be annoying that person because you're reminding them of a person they've already met, which was a real nasty piece of work, and now they're looking at you as this potential real nasty piece of work, you've got to realize something. They're not looking at you. Okay? And you could say that and speak your truth. Look, I get it. You're not looking at me. You're looking at another half-class person you met, who also had success within his life, but used his success in the wrong way. Probably lied to a bunch of people, okay? Probably wasn't very nice. Probably didn't have a good relationship with his mum, and therefore he was bad to women. I get it. And he was bad to you because he's your ex-boyfriend. I get it. Okay, I get it. But that's not me. I may have stubble on my face, I may wear a hat or love the colour red, but that's not me. My relationship with my mum's fine, it's great. You could say that to them, but they probably wouldn't know what to say. They'd probably freeze up. And you definitely cannot say this around people because it will bring up too much of their past to everyone else around them. You see, most people get upset when they're just sat on their own, thinking about all of this stuff, how they were treated with in the past. And most people, again, will tend to shy away from looking at these regions of their mind, these thoughts, these memories of a time which they would rather forget. They sure as hell aren't going to bring that up in front of you. And they're definitely not going to want to bring that up in front of all these other people around them. So you cannot bring that out of them and then just put it on display. Number 7, you'll have a deep feeling that life should be a certain way, but it's not. And because of this, you'll be picking apart society, noticing what's wrong, and you'll most likely get pretty frustrated for a while until you can become self-employed or get involved with a group of people with some sort of influence where you can change society or at least bring about a certain amount of change when it comes to sparking awareness within little pockets of society which could help them change the world in some way, shape or form. Even if it's the slightest, you'll do it. Okay, and that often happens when you become 16 or 18 because that's when we can become financially independent, that's when we can start making some progress when it comes to earning our own money, and because this world pretty much runs on that tool, we could use that for the benefit of the world. Now, there are some stressful periods. It could feel like it's going to take longer than you want it to. You want to do it now. You have these ideas now to change the world, but you have to grow first. You have to have all these skills. And honestly, guys, that's where the fun is. It's in the learning. Now, I don't mean sitting there reading a book with no one around you. I mean venturing outside of the house, meeting new people, learning how to travel to find these people. It will add to your character, and that's what makes the wait worth it. Number 8. You'll be able to feel out the mental maturity of others. This is because you're not going by what you look like. You're not saying or thinking, okay, you've been around longer than me, I'm just going to assume that you're more mature than me. Because you'll become more aware of their behavior. You see, experience tells more than the truth. When you're watching somebody who's acting immature, it's because they are. Most likely. You'll know. You'll know. And you'll see this a lot in elder people, especially if they're 60 or 80, or I've seen people who are like 90 and they still act like kids. Okay, and I don't mean the playful, wondrous kids that are like pure. I mean the crazy kids, the teenagers that are twisted mentally that just break everything. Okay, the dysfunctional children. You'll see that in older people, they become spiteful and twisted and broken mentally. And you'll see very early on where they stopped in their progression when it comes to them becoming more mature, okay, more wise, more ready to face circumstances that they've already faced. And really it's to deal with their vibration. Some people on low vibration can't see where they may have been wrong within the past when it comes to them responding to any given situation. Therefore, they'll just say it's that person's fault and not mine. And I'm going to stick to that because I have to be right. But honestly, if they feel bad whilst they're saying that, then a part of them is wrong. And again, at the chance of sounding too condescending, you wouldn't want to bring that up in a conversation. It's much rather appreciated if you just sit there, realize where they're at, realize where most people have been at within your past, especially if someone's approached you and they're much older and they're behaving a certain way and you couldn't quite figure out why back then. Now you can. So you just sit there, realize what's going on, and be like, okay, sure. I'm grateful that isn't me, and I'm grateful that won't be me. It's clearly right now where I'm at in my spiritual development, my consciousness, my ability to adapt to life is better than theirs. Clearly, because I feel better. My circumstances are better. And I can tell where they're at, because I used to be there myself. And you know what? That's something that is quite strange. When you get to the point within your life where you realize that even though you're younger than this person by decades, you actually managed to overcome a problem that they couldn't, psychologically. Now you could give advice to them. You have to be indirect though. If you could tell that it's due to a childhood trauma, then you could sit down and talk about your childhood trauma. And you could say how you got over it. And you could say that to a person who sat next to the person you're trying to heal. This is called indirect communication. They're going to pick up on anything you're saying. And then they'll sit there and think. Even if you say it for a couple of minutes, and then you get up and walk away, they're going to sit there and think. Then they're going to receive the download of information that you've just spat out using verbal vibration, hitting the eardrum, which then vibrates down into their brain throughout the neurons. So they'll do that, and they'll fix their childhood issue. Whereas they couldn't have possibly done that within their past due to their circumstance, which put them at a disadvantage because it kept them within a certain mindset, okay? Which was only supported by their emotions, which prevents people from seeing any situation in any other way, shape, or form. Number 9, your communication skills will change to better suit the needs of others. Nowadays, when I speak to somebody, I'm constantly aware and self-adjusting of what it is that I'm saying and how it is I'm hearing the information from the other person. For example, if they're constantly talking about, say my brother, he's constantly talking about his tattoos, right? Or he's talking about some sort of game on the Xbox. I'm not into Xbox games. I don't have anything against them, I just don't play them. Therefore, I have no information, no memory that suggests that I was excited within the past. Therefore, I won't become excited whilst I'm hearing it within the now. So my attention span when it comes to him talking about that topic won't be very long. It's the same vice versa. If I'm talking about fasting, or dry fasting, water fasting, health, he will turn off pretty quick. Because he has no information backing that he should be excited about what it is that I'm talking about. So what I would do is I'd go through my memory of times that I have been excited about games. Maybe I've been to Comic-Con, okay? So I'll come back talking about how I met Halo, or some sort of stormtrooper, something dealing with the game world. And then that will get him excited, then he'll start to speak, start to just, game diarrhea of the mouth, you know? And we would have a decent flowing conversation, and there will be no talking over each other. There will be no awkward moments where we realize that that person really just doesn't give a crap. And that's because I'm putting in the time to communicate to my brother, well, because he's my brother. You know, I love spending time with him. So if there's any way that I could facilitate that, I will do so. And again, I have that additional awareness that suggests that there could come a time, and there has been so far, where people, not just my brother, but other people within my environment, maybe old friends or other members of my family, would approach me with certain topics that I may not just be interested in. And I could say that to them. And I could say that to them. I said, that's cool and all, but I'm not really much of a meat eater. I'm pretty sure it tastes nice. I use the same spices on my vegan food, and that's what makes me enjoy the food. Okay? And again, I'm using what he knows, what he likes, the spices. I'm using my own excitement for the spices to better express how I feel towards a certain topic. Okay? And that's how the communication skills intertwine. And it's great when you can do that and you really master that skill. Because if you want to become self-employed within the future, it would help if you had some sort of communication skill to bridge the gap when it comes to the separateness of the two people, you and the other person, or maybe the group. Okay, and that deals with becoming independent. That's another sign, but I'll probably go into that some other time because it's not what I wrote down. Number 10, you become more self-accepting of your own thoughts. Not just your thoughts, but also your emotions, okay? To me, they're one and the same. It's all vibration, it's all energy, it's all consciousness, which you can observe. Just different forms of the same thing, you know, different sides of the same coin. And what I mean by self-accepting is most people have this stigma towards crying within the public. They don't want to be judged. And because they watch other people judge other people, when they find themselves crying on their lonesome, they'll often judge themselves the same way they've seen other people judge others. Okay? That no longer becomes the case once you become aware of the fact that you are the only one within your body. You are the only one within your mind. And you are the only one that gets to observe your thoughts and that gets to judge your thoughts. And you will judge them accurately, because it won't be coming from a place of you shouldn't be doing this because it's not right. It's not socially acceptable to express feminine attributes of your emotions in a society that really does embrace the suppression of such energy. Okay? Because here's the thing. When you were a kid, you didn't have any of that. You didn't have any of those belief systems that were preventing you from being yourself. And because of this, when you was a kid, you cried when you wanted to cry. You didn't judge yourself. You didn't say, why am I doing this? This is wrong. Because it just felt so right. If you could remember when you was a kid and tap back into that knowing that it was okay to cry, and you could apply this method also to anything within your life that you have resistance with when it comes to you observing the self and how you behave. Who's really judging you? Are you judging you? Or are your judgments being facilitated by the opinions of others? And if so, then technically those thoughts within your head that listen to other people's opinions, store them up and then use them as ammo to fire at yourself? Those opinions are not yours. Yes, they may sound like your voice. Sometimes not at all. Sometimes they will sound like someone else, someone you actually quite hate. And that's obviously because you've most likely heard them talk down to you within the past quite a lot. But really sit on that, really think about it. You know, who's judging who within your own mind? And allow yourself to just be you. This will facilitate in your Kundalini awakening because it will allow you to move the energy throughout your body with the breath. Had a good cry, feel good. And it will just move throughout your body. The tension will release. When you don't do that, the tension stays. Your body becomes crippled, stressed out, tight. You'll end up having problems within your future. Okay? I don't mean to freak you out or scare you, but this has happened within other people's lives. I've seen it. It's even happened within my life before I did all of the work and I got rid of all the tension. Okay, this is the only way I could tell you guys this stuff because I've gone through all of it. So, good luck. And if you could relate also, then these 10 signs of a Kundalini awakening may also sound familiar to you. I'm Ryan JC, Ryan James Cropper. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. Share these videos, guys. Get it spread out. Spirituality is getting big. Consciousness, the expansion, the untwisting of belief systems, the end of an old world and the birth of a new, which really was always around. It was just being elbow dropped out the way for something which didn't make sense to distract us from ourselves. I'm Ryan JC, again, Ryan James Cropper. Subscribe, drop a comment below if you've gone through something that I haven't mentioned. It lets me know that you guys like these videos, that then encourages me to make more videos like this. So subscribe, like, comment, share, and I'll speak to you guys pretty soon. Peace.